We're recording. Brandon, Santo, Pilar Lehman, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you. Glad
Thanks
to be here.
It's been over a year since the three of us were on together.
Wow.
Holy moly.
And we're here to do the weighted debate part 2.
Absolutely.
We've got some pretty good topics to bring up. I talked to you guys both off camera and said, okay, I want to bring up some topics with you both. I want to debate them. We might agree and we might disagree, but one thing is we all respect each other's opinions. We're all professionals. So if we disagree, that's fine. We're still friends at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Hopefully. All right, so let's start things off, guys. First topic to debate. Ideal training atmosphere in a private training facility. The music, the crowd, the etiquette. What's your feeling on this? I'm not talking about a commercial gym, but I'm talking about a private training facility where you and I, Pilar, you and I have trained out of, Brandon, you and I have trained out of before, for just trainers and their clients. Brandon, I'm going to go to you on this first.
Yeah, it's a pretty nuanced topic. I mean, I'm not going to bore you to death and say, well, it depends. But one thing you want to establish first, I mean, if it is a private studio and if you're spending quite a bit of time there, is what is the type of clientele that you're trying to attract first? What's your identity as a business? What type of personal training do you do? Like, is it primarily CrossFit? Is it primarily strength training? Is it primarily rehab? Is it a combination or whatever? And what's your demographic? Is it the elderly? Is it ladies? Is it pre and postnatal? Is it youth? Is it athletic?
Yeah.
Or are you primarily focusing on bodybuilding competition?
Right.
So you let your audience kind of dictate the type of atmosphere that you want in terms of music and maybe just in terms of the environment. You know, are you going to paint it all black? Are you going to paint it all white? Are you going to have, you know, so you have to identify, well, what are my core values and what am I doing as a coach first? And that usually dictates the type of clientele that you attract. Now, obviously, we get a lot of different clientele and whatnot. So I guess the bottom line is, I mean, if you have a variety of clientele, which is also great, read the room.
Yeah.
If you have, and a prime example of that, if you have a class back when we were allowed to train classes, such a long time ago. I haven't touched a class since 2019.
Yeah.
I didn't have gray hair back then.
Yeah.
If you have a class and it's primarily ladies, you know, maybe a little poppy, a little dancey type of thing.
Right.
If you have a class, it's primarily 65 or older.
Yeah.
Would you be playing Dr. Dre? Would you be playing, you know, Kendrick Lamar?
Sometimes.
Yeah, well,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I like it too, and I think that point. I love rap. I love hip hop. That's the thing. We love it. As coaches, but we have to play to our clientele. It's not a matter of choice. If we're doing our own workout, either put our headphones on, or if you're by yourself in the gym, play whatever music you want. Okay.
100%.
And I'll touch on this very briefly. You want to read. You mentioned etiquette and whatnot. You do want to read what sort of vibe do you want to present if a potential client walks through? So if you and Pilar are partners and Pilar is giving a tour to a potential a couple who are interested in training with you, are you going to be swearing out loud to your clients? If you're training a class, are you going to be cursing? Are you going to be playing some Eminem, which I like, but are you going to be just blasting Eminem through the roof? What if those potential clients are 70-year-olds and are looking for a nice place to work out?
Good point.
I get it. Yeah, and then I get it. It's not a library. It's not you know, it might not need to be a party house either. So I guess the bottom line is you kind of for the most part, let your audience be your guide. Okay, if you look around, it's kind of like, you know, the bartender. I mean, or in a restaurant, if you notice that it's primarily 75 or older, would you be playing your hits from the 2010s? Probably not. You probably want to play to their generation, and vice versa.
Yeah.
If you see a bunch of youth athletes, you know, 18, 19, blast away the hip hop or rap or whatever. So I hope that answers the question, but I would love to hear what Pilar thinks.
A lot of great valid points there for sure. And a lot that I agree with 100%. I love the fact that you're talking about reading the room. That is so important when you're a trainer. You have to read the room 100%. Pilar, I'm going to go to you. Perfect gym etiquette. Well, wait, hold on a second here. Because you're now, Pilar's in a different training environment than you and I. I mean, Pilar and I go back about 15, 16 years now. And we've both trained in commercial gyms and we've trained in private training facilities together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now she has the luxury of training people out of her home, actually, because she has this big, huge garage that she can train clients out of. So Pilar, what do you do?
I'm looking for a place to train, by the way. So.
It's quite the commute, Brandon. I'll tell you that, it's quite the commute. But if you're willing to commute that far, but Pilar, because you kind of can control and dictate everything that goes on in your gym. So what do you do? What comes down to music and gym etiquette?
You know what? When it comes to my, I have to agree with Brandon about the location. You have to read the room, and more likely when there's some sort of music being played, it's got to be something very neutral, very, like 96 point whatever, something very light, nothing too crazy, hip hop, cursing, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
At my place, I usually just ask my clients, what do they want to listen to?
Sure.
So, some of my clients, they just don't want to listen to anything.
Right.
Or I'm all about the 80s. So most of my clients are kind of like the same generation, moms of the same generation.
Yeah.
Some of them might be a little bit older.
Yeah.
And 80s are always awesome. Roxanne, you have to.
Yeah.
I agree. I love 80s music, but I want to ask you both, have either one of you, because everyone here has worked in a private facility where they're working with other trainers on the floor. And I want to get both your opinions on this. Have you ever been in a situation where, okay, Brandon, let's say you have a 65-year-old woman that you're working with, and you walk in to the gym and there's trainers training there with a bunch of bodybuilders who are listening to gangster rap. What's your move there? What do? You're walking into a situation where the music's blaring. It's music that your client's probably not into. Maybe she is. Maybe I have a few 60-year-olds that are into the gangster rap, but maybe this client isn't. What's your move?
It's funny how it's a hypothetical question, but in reality, it has happened to me numerous times.
Sure.
Numerous times. It's funny how you mentioned that demographic. I've had to, you're kind of outnumbered if it's a class of 8 people listening to gangster rap, which is what I like, but it's not what I like. And I've had clients where they absolutely do not like it at all. Yeah. So yes, I have had to say, and instead of, you want to present it in a positive kind of way, you want to look at the room. This is why preparation is so important. You want to show up to your session 10 to 15 minutes early and coordinate with those trainers saying, okay, who do you got coming up on top of the hour? Now, if they actually say, well, I have a client, I have 8 boys coming in and we're going to listen to Dr. Dre. I'm like, okay, thank you very much. So at least when your client arrives, you can say, okay, we're training on the other side this time, or we're going to train in this corner. Okay. There's a class here, and make it all about them. This is what we're going to focus on instead of saying, oh my God, there's terrible music over there, you're not going to like it. What do you want to do? So you want to make it as if you want to prepare yourself as best as possible and make it in a professional way as well. But I've had clients threaten to leave the studio because this has nothing to do with me. I love rap, but let's be honest, some rap is very, very vulgar, very vulgar. Yeah, and I've had clients who are, heavily into CBC music. Yeah. And they can't handle even the gentle rock, they can't handle. So I've had clients threaten to leave, not me, but leave the studio and wanting to walk out. So this is right up my alley. You just got to handle it. You got to be prepared. You can't just walk in there blindfolded and, oh, let's see what happens. Let's see what they're playing. Oh, shoot, where should we go? Let's move our mat somewhere else. When it comes to environment, it's huge, especially for fragile clientele. Some people are on the fence about training in the gym to begin with.
Yes.
The last thing you want to do is blare, loud guitars into their faces while they struggle to pick up a dumbbell because they're nervous about that. So, yes, be prepared, be flexible with where you work out and where you train your client. Most gyms have a corner or, multiple rooms. So, and luckily one of my studios has an outdoor location as well. So, obviously, we can't really do it now, but when the weather improves. So I guess be flexible with your training, talk it over with your colleagues first, and then act happy and natural when your client arrives. Pilar, I would love to hear what your thoughts on that.
The thing is that I'm going to say I haven't trained in a facility for about, oh my gosh.
She's been out of the game for like 5 years.
No, I haven't been training in a facility since about, like in the type of facility that you guys have, I'm going to say since 2014, maybe, when I bought the Fit for Two franchise back in Vancouver. Yeah. Most of my classes were, we had our own room, and I was able to teach my class. It was a spin class, so it was our room, or if I had step class or a kickboxing class, it was always the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in the situation that you guys are. So for most part, I'm in control of
Yeah.
the music and I don't have those issues. But I do have to always be mindful of the music that I play because we have a lot of little people
Sure. Yeah.
in my classes. So
Oh, I didn't even think about that with kids around. Right.
so a
Yeah.
lot of little people, when they're babies, it's not too bad. But now that a few of my clients bring the kids who are maybe like 2, 3, 4, or if the kids are prody day and they bring the kids,
Yeah.
a lot of swearing and stuff. Sometimes it's like, okay, what's my playlist for today? It's kid friendly, but overall, I'm not the type of person that is gonna play a lot of like heavy rap and swearing. It's not my style.
Yeah.
Most of
You've
the
made a good
stuff-
point. Know the generation of your clientele.
Yeah.
If it's primarily, yeah,
Roxette.
yeah. But I mean, you wouldn't exactly. But would you be playing if you have a bunch of boys like between the ages of let's say 8 and 14? Would you be blaring Fine Young Cannibals, or would you be blaring 80s
I
stuff?
don't know what I will. I don't know
Yeah.
what I will play for them.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is to get that connection going with your clientele, it's important to play and talk to their generation, right? I mean, you wouldn't be talking about Bob Barker to a 10-year-old, right?
No.
Exactly. So it's same thing with kind of music and vibe, but I like your style, Pilar. So that's great.
Well, I agree with you both. You both have valid points. And I always believe if you're in a situation where there's multiple trainers on the floor and there's different demographics, let's say you've got your 56-year-olds in one corner, and then you've got your bodybuilders in another corner, and then you've got your 20-year-olds in another corner. I believe in playing what we call safe music. And safe music is everyone can kind of, agree that maybe the first track you don't like, second track you do like though. We all have different styles of music that we like. But at the end of the day, I like what you both say. It comes down to the client, the paying customer, what the client wants. Not what you like, not what you like, not what I like, what they like, right? It's their training experience. 100%.
Pilar said it best though, neutral and the volume. I mean, unless you're training a class, I mean, it could be a little bit louder, but I mean, the volume, it shouldn't be to a point where you have to shout over
no
music at all. And that's bothered some clientele in the past. Like,
sure,
they should be able, like, this is important. This is their life. This is they're trying to make a step here.
Yeah,
they can't even hear me.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's been a common theme in studios before where I've literally about once or twice per session just turn it down.
Yeah.
So yes.
That's a really good valid point too, because we are trying to instruct people and teach people. So if the music is blaring super loud, like it might be in like a big commercial gym, well, that's different because there's no trainers trying to teach you how to do things. So you're right. That volume control definitely needs to be in effect. Great.
Absolutely.
I think we all kind of agree on that. That's great. Gym etiquette is very important, and it comes down to the client's needs, right?
Absolutely.
Client's always right. Let's go to topic number 2.
Dun, dun, dun.
How involved should a trainer coach become in a client's life? How do you separate your professional relationship with a client versus your personal relationship with a client? Pilar, I'm going to go to you on this one first.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard because a lot of my clients have become really good friends.
Sure.
And I guess it's because of the demographic that I have is a lot of moms and kids. So a lot of the times, because I teach classes and group classes, or kids end up being friends.
Right.
And I still have friends that the kids, the moms have moved on. They don't do my classes, but we're still in touch.
Right.
And some of these ladies, I've been training them for like over 10 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
11 years.
Yeah.
And their kids are 12, 13-year-olds that we have become quite close, and we have a lot in common versus somebody who might be, a 85-year-old lady or a 15-year-old kid. I do have some teenagers that I train, and I love that demographic because it's so new for me.
Right.
And it just gives me what I've been looking for in the future.
Yeah.
But it's really, really hard to keep that separate. But you also have to know that you have to keep it professional.
Right.
And I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the times in training sessions, clients tell you a lot of things.
Yes.
It's not just a fitness class, or you get to know these people. You get to know their husbands' names, what they do for a living, what they did on vacation, what the kids are doing, when they're sick, when they're not, if they're having problems in their marriage, a lot of things that
It's a sign of trust too. It's kind of a good thing, bad
trust,
thing.
right? I mean,
Big time.
they're choosing to spend an hour of their day 3-4 times a week, whatever it might be, with you.
Sure.
And you gotta like your clients.
Yeah.
And I've gotten in my, now that I've been in this industry for a long time, there's a lot of people that might approach me, and if we don't connect, I'm not I don't have to take you on as a client, but I don't say that.
So can I ask you, do you, outside of the gym, do you hang out with your clients at all? Like, do you go to, like, say, to a restaurant for a night out with your clients? Do you hang out, like, go for a few drinks with them? Like, how does that work?
I do. There's
You do?
there's
Okay.
a really fun group. There's a really fun group of ladies that I usually try to do, like, I always do like once a year, or like I try to.
Yeah.
Mother's Day, we will do like a Friday after class, we will all get together at the parks, have some wine, some snacks, or I try to keep that celebrations, and at the end of the year, kind of like a thank you for the year kind of thing.
Okay.
We used to do that. Or after class, today, guys, after class, we're just gonna hang out, bring some snacks, the kids are gonna play, and kids,
Yeah.
or I have a really fun class on Tuesdays that every once in a while after class we have some glasses of wine and we just hang out in my garage.
After class or during class, Pilar? Yeah. I know you.
And again, these are people that have been training with me for a long time.
Right. Okay.
Some of the kids go to school with my kids, so
Okay.
and it's also a way that even if they don't train with me anymore, it's like, don't worry about it. We're still friends. I still like you,
Yeah.
because people do move on.
Sure.
So it's hard I find it hard because I like them. They're my friends.
Yeah.
But I know that,
I mean,
depending on the demographic.
I think it's testament to who you are as a person. You're a very lovable person as well. And I think but you've also created a community, which is what is really important to do as a company, or as any company, never mind personal training. You've created that community first. Your idea of going out with these ladies or whatnot wasn't like, oh, I need a friend. Oh, I need to drink something. It is created community, and it's a sense of belonging. And if you shield it that way, you're creating a community, a loving community where they have a common bond, and that's a healthy relationship with their bodies, and they're working out to become healthier. That's great. You can disguise it that way. You mentioned that it's really hard to separate personal and business. I mean, of course it is. It is because the gym, it's very physical. It's very body orientated. It's very sexual. So that's why in terms of if I want to separate business and personal, that needs to be set right from the consultation. And so if clients don't know my boundaries, and I use the term boundaries a lot when I am with clients and when I'm talking with my business partners, and we set the boundaries right from the get-go. It's no different if you're starting with a new company or whatever. The expectations, the number one question what people ask their potential clients is, what are you expecting to get out of this? What's your expectations coming into this studio? And the reciprocal of that is this is what you'd expect from me. And that's when your availability, what you can expect from a session, and your boundaries, that's when it needs to be discussed first. So the foundation needs to be set right in stone, right from the consultation and from the first fitness assessment, so that they know, so that there's a general understanding. From there, the relationship can grow as well. And now you've made and I'm talking to myself as I say this as well, because I've had relationships with clients in the past, and I'm sure many people do, because it's no different. It's no different.
I don't think you mean sexual.
I've never had a
good.
Like,
Good.
like a love affair with every of my clients.
It's
right?
not a badge. It's not a badge of honor.
No, I never did.
Oh, Brandon! Whoa,
it's not good at all.
Sign up with Brandon.
No. This is what I'm trying to get at here. It's like no different from a 9-to-5 job where you see the same person over and over again. You see them during their bad days. You see them during their good days. You see them during their periods or whatever. Pilar nailed in the head where they have a lot of trust in you, so they sometimes spill their guts on you, saying, "Oh, this happened, this happened, this happened."
Yeah.
And that's very attractive for a lot of people. Now, and this hasn't happened to me the last 5-6 years. So what I'm trying to get to here is, if you want to maintain that business relationship, but if you can't control the biology, when you're attracted to somebody, that's biology. You can't, that just happens. That's science.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Then you should probably refer that client out. And to your, yes, absolutely. If you
I
want to
agree with
maintain,
that.
if you want to
Absolutely.
maintain a business relationship with that client,
Yeah.
either set the foundation first, like this is business, or if you can't control the biology aspect of it, if it just happens, then refer that client to either your business partner or to somebody else down the line. And so that, so that's, you separate it that way, but the expectations and the boundaries should be set from the get-go.
Yeah. I agree with that statement 100%. I think you have to remain a professional. And listen, everyone knows everyone in this industry, especially here in Vancouver. It's a small industry. And you don't want to get that reputation as that trainer that either sleeps with your clients or goes out and gets wasted with your clients. I mean, like Pilar said, you put something together for your clients at the end of the year or every few or once a week, like they do with the moms. I mean, Pilar specializes in pre and postnatal. So I don't think they're all going to the bar getting wasted. I think it's just like a get together. Maybe, I don't know. But I agree with you on that. I think it's,
like we get together, hang out.
Yeah.
It's never been like a rager. Maybe I should do it. Maybe you will do that.
Okay, so here's my question for both of you though, because this is where I stand on this. What happens if you establish, okay, let's not say a sexual relationship, let's just say a friendship with your clients in general. Like, I've got a lot of guys I train and they invite me to their birthdays, or I've got a lot of stockbrokers I train and, on a Friday afternoon, like, Nick, come to the bar with us. We made a good money to this week or whatever it is. Right. And here's the problem with that is I find is if I hang out with my clients on a regular basis, then I'm not saying all, but some might start to take that friendship for granted and say, well, let's say, okay, let's bring a perfect example. I have a 24-hour cancellation policy. If you don't provide myself or my trainers with that 24-hour cancellation policy, we have to charge your account 100%. No exceptions unless I have a doctor's note, right? And I'm sure you both have something similar in effect with your policies.
By the book, absolutely.
Guys, you guys know this. If you're not working, you're not getting paid, right? That's how our business works. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know things come up and in certain circumstances, maybe you can make a little bit of an exception, but for the most part, most people understand from the get-go, you don't provide us with 24 hours notice, you get charged.
Yep.
So I feel that if I go out and I go to the bar with my clients on a Friday night, and then Saturday morning, I'm hungover, but I still show up to my shift because I always show up to my shift. And maybe they don't show up and they'll text me later on, oh, sorry, bro, I was hungover, I couldn't come in. And I charge their account. My fear is that they'll come back and say, well, wait a second, I was out with you last night, I was hanging out. Can't you let this one slide?
His problem.
I'm sorry?
That's his problem.
But here's the situation is once that person becomes your friend, because, as friends, you're like, you want to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. That's where it becomes a gray area. So Pilar, what's your opinion on this?
That's a good question because again, my demographics are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Kids get sick.
Okay.
We have a lot of pro D days, things like that. So the good thing about my classes is like, there's a pro D day, that you can bring your children.
Yeah.
If you choose not to bring your kids, that's your problem. You missed that class.
Yeah.
But if you need to make up that class in another day, by all means, go for it.
Okay.
You know that you have to make up that class in that winter session or
I see. Okay.
fall session.
Sorry to interrupt, but do they get charged for that class that they missed?
Yes.
Okay, they do. Okay.
I do charge them for that class, but they know that if they want to come, maybe instead of the Wednesday, they want to come to the Friday class, they can do that. Okay. So they have that option.
Yeah.
If it's a one-on-one session, if it's a mom that is calling me at, I don't start early like you guys because I don't like it.
You can do whatever the hell you want. Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to. There was a class that it's at 11 or a session that's coming out at 11 and she's like, my kids woke up sick. You know what? I understand because you can't send your kids home to school sick. You have to be, but if it's a continuous thing, they know that I have to charge them. Okay. But if it's an odd thing, like I have a lot of, stay-at-home moms that work and stuff, and I'm a little bit easier on them than you guys. You guys seem really, really mean.
Mean.
I'll address the 24-hour thing in just a second.
Okay.
I mean, Nick, you mentioned about the, getting out for drinks. It's a little bit easier for somebody like me who's a little bit more of a hermit. He doesn't drink. Yeah, he's not really into the going out aspect of it, unless it is. But a part of my
go out. I have children, so no.
Part of my company, and part of what I did in my last company as well is to organize a lot of community events. So again, going back to what Pilar does on a regular basis,
Yeah.
is that, yes, I do organize community stuff. It is creating community, but it's as a community, it's our company, it's me doing favors for our clientele,
Sure.
whatnot. And I'm not saying I would never, if a client asked me out for tea or whatever, I would. But
Yeah.
again, once those expectations have been already set during those initial meetings,
Yeah.
luckily my clients, every single one of them haven't crossed that boundary.
Yeah.
So it's been very, very much easier for me to control that aspect, that friendship barrier or the business barrier or whatever. It's been much easier for me to control that. So thankfully, because you mentioned, because I take the 24-hour policy very, very, very seriously.
Yes.
I mean, you pretty much have to be on your deathbed to not get charged. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm starting to charge clients for COVID because COVID is all around now. I mean, and it's really easy to fake.
It is.
So, and like you said, Nick, this is our livelihood. We only get paid when we're on the floor. So when it comes to the 24-hour policy, I mean, thankfully, no client has ever taken advantage of that.
No.
And I kind of meshed with what Pilar does. I'm like, well, okay, well, your session's in 4 hours. Can you make it later on in the day, or can you just make the session tomorrow so
Yeah.
you don't get charged?
Right.
But that 24-hour expectation, they initial it in the initial contract. Then they
Yes.
sign off on it in the initial contract. And it's one of the three main things I mentioned in verbally to the clients who are signing up.
Smart.
So it's in writing twice, and I say it verbally twice.
Yeah.
Or at least once, sorry. But I mean, they know. And it's not like we're the only industry who does 24 hours.
No, not at all.
Doctor, dentist,
RMT,
I mean,
yeah, for
RMT.
sure. Psychiatrists, yeah, 100%.
some are 48 hours.
That's
so I
right.
mean, this is brand new.
$50 if you don't show up for your appointment.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's
I
free.
mean,
That you're getting paid anyways.
yeah. So I
And-
mean, yeah.
I agree with both of you. And I was in a situation when I first started personal training, I was 17 years old. So I really didn't have any business experience. And I actually befriended a lot of my clients. A lot of them still train with me to this day. But like Brandon said, we've set boundaries. And I've been pretty lucky because for the most part, people have not taken advantage of that friendship that we've established. Because, like you said, Pilar, you're spending hours and hours with these people on a weekly basis. And then it becomes a yearly basis. And you take that 1 year, you turn it into 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know that person quite well. And like Brandon said, they tell you a lot of stuff. They tell you a lot of personal stuff. I don't know why. I mean, the joke with personal trainers is that, we're psychiatrists, we're underpaid psychiatrists.
Or life coaches.
Totally,
too.
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really hard to separate that.
Good content.
Yeah, it's hard to separate that personal relationship from that professional relationship sometimes. But I think, like Brandon said, it's important to have boundaries and set those boundaries from the very beginning so people understand, hey, look, at the end of the day, this is a business. This is my business. I have trainers to pay. I work hours. I'm busy. If you don't show up, and I could have filled that time slot with 2 or 3 people who wanted that time slot, A, it's not fair to those people. And B, it's not fair to me because, now I'm missing out because either you're hungover or even if you're sick. And I do believe I've been sick. Everyone here has been sick. I do believe that you can provide enough notice. You feel like something's happening, right?
Yeah.
I do feel that way. So
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I'll mention to that in terms of boundaries, not necessarily during the consultation, but maybe during later on, like a few sessions into it, is one thing that doesn't belong in the gym, at least when I'm training my clients, is politics and religion, because that divides the world. And those two are very controversial topics.
yeah,
Doesn't mean I'll never discuss it with them outside the gym,
Yeah.
but in the gym, let's take a break from that. Okay, you're here for an hour.
yeah,
Let's take a break from the things that really divide the world up,
yeah.
and then put it on pause. This is your hour. So
You're
anyways,
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Guys, I got one more topic to discuss and we're out of here today. Okay. And the last topic is actually a topic that Brandon brought to my attention. It's actually a really good one too. So Brandon wanted to bring up is the demonization of sugar, as in AKA junk food, in the industry and media, really that justified. So Brandon, because this is your topic, I want to go to you on this first.
Well, it's close to my heart because A, I'm a nutrition coach. B, I've mended myself into a different coach over the last several years because I used to demonize sugar 15, 20 years ago. And I'm not suggesting I promote sugar eating or junk food eating, but with what we want to do here is prevent disordered eating and unhealthy relationships with food. Clients struggle with this. It's very pervasive in our industry. And one of the biggest ways to continue to do that is to set limits on certain foods. You don't want to do that. Like you
Right.
don't want to say certain foods are off limits or certain things like this. Yes, there are triggering foods. And yes, there are food allergies. So cut allergies out of the equation. Avoid foods that give you allergies
Yeah.
or they don't agree with your stomach. But the all or none mindset thinking, the black or white thinking, the good foods and bad foods dichotomy really needs to go. And if you want, there's a place, and I mentioned this even on my website, I say it all the time, there's a place for any single type of food in your lifestyle. It just depends on your goals, your preference, your digestive system, what stage of life you're at, what time of the day it is, you can incorporate it. And whatever your goal is, you can fit any food into a lifestyle. So primarily this is centered upon the mental health, the mental aspect of eating.
Right.
And so I don't like demonizing certain foods. And there are many scientific meta-analyses showing when they've overfed humans loads of sugar, put them on a diet, and have people on a regular diet without sugar or really low amounts of sugar, they've lost equal amounts of weight.
Okay.
So which goes to show, so I guess circling back to what I'm trying to say is, if we want to gear clients towards better healthy decisions, emphasize the healthy whole foods, the protein rich, the water rich, the fiber rich foods. Emphasize those. Or emphasize lifestyle choices like exercise, activity, sleep, stress mitigation. Emphasize those first. And then, I mean, by doing that, you kind of just do away with the foods that aren't quite as beneficial for your goal or whatever it is. So, I mean, at the same time, I'm not demonizing the food. I am just highlighting what's beneficial here. These are the types of foods that seem to go well with your type of diet or whatever. I don't prescribe meal plans or whatever, but my answer is no to demonizing sugar.
I have a question for you though. And my question is this. So you talked about if someone's they have lots of sugar in their diet versus someone who's following, let's say, clean food diet, right? So two different diets. Now, what I'm interested to know with these studies is, they both lose equal amount of weight. But from a health component, I mean, as far as like, say, blood pressure, overall health, what do those studies show?
The studies, it's a very good question, Nick, and I'm very glad you asked that. Most of the studies show the people who ate a lot of sugar still improved their blood markers substantially. And it's because of the weight loss. A lot of the stuff, I'm not saying, I gotta be careful here, I don't want to say weight loss is the cure, but a lot of the stuff, a lot of the blood work, a lot of the metabolic health, Nick, is influenced by body weight.
Okay.
If you have weight to lose, especially fat, if you have weight to lose, a lot of times, especially insulin sensitivity, glucose uptake, blood cholesterol, a lot of those markers improve with weight loss.
Okay.
It does. So in those studies, Nick, they didn't see too much of a difference in health markers between groups because they both lost a substantial amount of weight.
Interesting.
So yes. So and I said in my notes here, well, it appears that total calories, the number of calories matters most, depending on if you want to put on weight or lose weight. Very good question, Nick. I'm glad you asked that.
Oh, this will be really interesting. This is actually, we might run out of time today, but it's something we're going to have to go into on our next episode here.
Absolutely.
Pilar, what's your opinion on this? I mean, should it be demonized pretty much the way that we do in the media? We say sugar's bad, junk food's bad. What is your opinion on that?
Listen, I have children.
Yeah.
And it's something very, I grew up with sugar was bad.
Right.
Sugar is bad for you.
Yeah.
And it's something I have kids. Well, me is a different story. But now whatever I do is going to reflect on my kids' knowledge in food.
Right.
And what healthy habits I want to establish in them. And this is huge.
Yeah.
Not just healthy habits on nutrition, but body image.
Okay.
Like I don't talk about how much I weigh. It's like I'm strong.
Good.
More. That's another topic that we should go into, Nikki. Is if I weighed myself, is because you know what? And my kids always like, oh, mommy, your belly's getting smaller. I'm like, well, thank you. Thank you. This is good. But going back to I tell my kids this everyday food and there's sometimes food.
Okay.
Everyday food, rice, chicken, cauliflower, broccoli. Sometimes food, we're going to a birthday party. Have your cake. Have the cupcake.
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life. If I go to a party, I'm the first one on the pizza. I'm the first one on the snacks.
Yeah.
During the week, I have my salads. I have my everyday food that I know is going to fuel my body.
Yes.
To perform.
Right.
So there's everyday food or there's sometimes food. Is sugar bad for you in excess? I think it is. And
Right.
people don't realize like how much people think that sugar doesn't affect behavior.
Yeah.
Give children sugar.
You would know. Yeah.
I'm gonna take both of my children. I'm gonna drop them off at your house with a lollipop. Let's see what happens in half an hour. Sugar does affect bodies. It does affect your system.
Yeah.
It affects it. If I eat too much sugar, I have a headache. You get the highs and lows. So I think it's a matter of like, again, everyday food and sometimes food. Is it bad for you? I think in excess, yes, it is.
Yeah, I think you sound like the ideal mother. Because
Come
sounds
on,
like you're doing. Yeah, but I mean,
She's got 3
Yeah, I mean-
kids. She knows what sugar does.
exactly. Excess food in general is
Yeah,
unhealthy,
yeah.
but at the same time, what Pilar is doing here is good because she's not demonizing food.
No,
She's saying she's putting emphasis on the
Yeah.
healthy foods. She didn't say avoid the other foods, which is what the media is doing,
Yeah.
or some trainers are doing. She's not
Yes.
saying avoid this is bad.
Yeah.
She's saying let's focus on these foods most of
Yeah.
the time.
Yes.
Otherwise, enjoy the cake.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that. You're
Yeah.
not judged by a cookie or two.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. So it's about lifestyle and what you do over the course of your lifestyle, as opposed to, oh damn, I had a donut.
Yeah.
And it's the mental aspect that I'm trying to get to as well. I know
Yeah.
we have only 2 minutes
big
left,
deal.
but I mean
You had
it's
a
just
donut.
yeah.
Well, you
Enjoy
both
your
take
donut.
you both take a very healthy approach to this, which is good to see. I mean, I come from that bodybuilding background where it's like Pilar said, chicken, rice, fish, repeat, chicken, rice, fish, repeat, oatmeal. That's it. And
That's part of the reason I brought it up.
yeah, and it can create some really unhealthy relationships with food. I still work with bodybuilders to this day where I say, guys, go have a burger and fries. You're depleted. They're like, no way, no way. They just don't want to do it because their mind doesn't work like that. And that's not healthy. It's not a good way to approach diet. It's not realistic. You can't do that forever. So I do agree with both of you. You need to have a little bit of flexibility in your diet. And it's actually a topic I want to go in more in depth with, because I think it's a really good topic. You brought up that about body imaging and getting your weight down on the scale is not everything. And that's another topic, which brings me to my next and final question. Will you both come back on for another weighted debate?
Absolutely, Nick.
All right, perfect.
Thanks for having us. No,
Yeah,
it was good. And
Let's hit it up.
yeah,
So because you guys are got lots of opinions, and I love to hear them both. And like I said, we don't agree on everything, and that's fine. That's totally fine. At the end of the day, we can go back to our corners. We're still friends. And that's why I like to have you guys on, because you guys are like me. You don't take anything personal, which is great.
no.
I know.
Yeah, I know you don't take anything personal. So Brandon and Pilar, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it. And we'll get a weighted debate part 2 up hopefully in the next few weeks. So these guys can come on and share their knowledge.
Nice to
Thank
see
you,
you
Nick.
guys.
Guys,
Bye,
I want to
Pilar.
thank you so much. And this video will be up probably next week around Wednesday, around that time. Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so
Bye,
much.
Pilar.
See you
Bye.
later on.
Bye.
Bye, guys.